Okay, we're going to look at a little building project here, and the thing that we're trying to build is a workbench. It looks a bit like this. So to build this, we're not really interested in these legs, but we're going to look at these long sides and short sides. So if you look at it, there's a long side there, and then there's one round the other side, and then there's the same. So this is the long side here. Okay, and then there's the same at the bottom, and they're the same length. So the long sides are there, and of course around the back as well, top and bottom. Okay, so we'll call those long sides. And then the bench, as it's going to turn out into, has short sides too. And the short sides are these bits here. Short, there's one round the back, of course, there's one at the bottom, and there's one kind of round the back at the bottom. So there are 4 short sides as well. Okay, so there's 4 of those, and there is 4 of those. Okay, now the only thing that we know in constructing this is that the long sides are double the length of the short sides. Okay, so one way of looking at that, if we suggest that the short side, this is where a little bit of algebra comes in handy. The short side is x meters, or x centimeters actually, and then the long side has to be 2x centimeters. Okay, so this is x, so we're saying that this is x, and therefore this long one is 2x. Okay, let's see how this project might take shape. So we need to decide how long, we need to help this guy, how long should each piece be? Let's have a look at what the raw materials. So here are the 3 lengths of wood that he's got, okay, and the each of these pieces is 3.6 meters long. Okay, so we can write that down. So we have 3.6 meters times 3. That's what we have available to us. We want to use all the wood, and we need, remember, 4 short and 4 long for our rectangle. Sorry, 2 rectangles. In terms of x, if this is one of our rectangles, remember we're doing 2, we've got x here, and we've said that this is 2x, and so this is 2x. So in total for one of the rectangles we need 6x, and as there are 2 rectangles we actually need 12x in total. So if we divide the total length of our wood by 12, we should get the value of x. So in this case 12x is equal to 3.6 times 3. So to do the algebra we're going to go back to 12x, and this time we're going to say it's 360 centimeters times 3 because it's a bit easier to work in centimeters. Okay, that's the same as 3.6 meters. So we can then say that 12x equals 1080 centimeters, and that is 360 times 3. Then to find x, and remember x, what we're trying to do is to help this guy cut his wood up, okay? And to find x, we just divide 1080 by 12. So in this case, x equals 1080 divided by 12, which is 90 centimeters. So that means one of his short sides needs to be 90 centimeters. And remember that for the long side is going to be 2x centimeters. So the long side will be 180 centimeters. And that way he'll use all his wood and he will be able to make the bench. Let's see what it looks like. So he's going to start cutting it up now. He's cutting up, he's done the calculations, he's cut up the 490s, so that's the 490s lying on the ground down there. And he's now going to cut up the longer sides. So those are the 180 sides, and now he's putting them together, and we've got our basic shape for the first, the top half, or the bottom half, doesn't really matter. And so here we have the 180s, right, and there we have the 90s. So that's the 90, and that's the 180, and that forms the rectangle. So let's see what happens when it all starts coming together. It's going to start cutting legs. We haven't talked about legs. I think the legs are 90 as well. The legs then go on and get screwed on each corner. So I'm going to turn it over. It will look like a table. And then it starts raining, so it has to go inside. So the next day we've got a top, and then it's going to do exactly the same to the bottom. So we've only used 4 bits of wood so far, so he's now putting 2 more on, the 2 short sides, and then the 2 180s. And it's starting to look like what it's supposed to look like. And some supports, because there's going to be a floor to it. It's going to be a bottom shelf. And in a moment we'll turn it over, and it will basically look like what it should look like. You then cut the floor part and squeeze it in underneath to form the floor. And that's it. We are done. Using algebra to help us construct something, and it's a very practical use of the technique.